It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS. But I always obsess about your production rate and how much money you make per hour. Because there's a sweet spot in there with your business model with maybe, too small of a job, your production rate sucks. But maybe like too big of a job, your production rate sucks too. And so try to figure out which jobs you get the best production rate where a guy, including the drive time to and from the job. You have to include that time. You can't just include the time out at the job or you miss like part of the cost of sending people out to do work. So if you look at it all encompassing like over a day, try to figure out which jobs are in your sweet spot and maybe adjust your pricing if other jobs aren't as profitable for you. Maybe increase the price on those. So you either deter those people or you at least get paid for those jobs. But I feel I see too many people as a bookkeeper. I see too many people get hung up on trying to get a big average ticket and sacrificing profitability to get bigger clients that are a bigger pain in the ass. It's just a weird little nuance.
For sure. And
weird little nuance.
I just wrote this down too, because I'm sure you guys will talk about it tomorrow in your webinar. Make sure to check out the webinar, event.webinarjam.com/register/ it's in the
website. / just go click on the damn link because it's numbers and letters and stuff.
So that's huge because that's something that I'm going to tie a couple things into it. But instead of average job size, our biggest thing is what's average sales per customer.
Yeah.
Right. So you're trying to leverage who you already have. How much more would you make as a business if every customer spent $50 more a month or $100 more a year? Right. You have 5,000 customers, $50 more a month, $100 more a year, $1,000 more a year. You don't even have to go after anybody else. Right. So focusing on those customers and how every single year you can increase your average dollar amount or average sale per customer for all the sales they do. And a big thing too with that, instead of these bigger jobs, is the more clients you have on like maintenance or programs or whatever that looks like, the smaller ones and more of them, it's insurance, it's risk aversion. So that was something else too. Like that's what I thought after we got that really big job. I'm like, okay, so we have to sell another one of these and then another one of these, or we have 100 smaller ones that took no time. And if we lose 2 of them, there's still 98, right? Yep. So it creates more insurance. It's more cushion against economic downturns, against a CEO getting fired from a commercial company that you're working for while you've got these other 98. So you don't have to be as scared instead of all your eggs in one basket. So I always call that the 10% rule. If any customer makes up more than 10% of your total income, that's scary. So we're always trying to grow. So nobody's ever making up more than 10% of our total gross revenue. And in addition to that, which could tie into what we're going to talk about here in a bit too, but I've valued a ton of companies to purchase and just to help people out. Contracts are much greater than construction contracts, right? Or than construction jobs. So you have a 3-year contract, you have a 1-year contract. I'll buy that company way more than somebody that does $50,000 landscape installs.
Yeah, that aren't like, when you buy that type of business, you're buying their name. Yep.
Was that a question?
No, that's the end. You're just buying their name because like, yeah, you might get some like marketing assets and you're maybe buying their assets to execute, but like their client list is not very valuable unless you're using Sotellus. Then their client list gets more valuable if you're using Sotellus.
Somebody puts in a pool or a 10,000 square foot patio with a fire pit and water feature and pergola. They're not going to do that next year, right? You got to find the next person that's willing to drop that kind of dough in a good market. And now with interest rates going up again and another one going up again in February, I just talked to my banker, people aren't going to be spending that kind of money. So then what? What happens to all those businesses?
Yep.
So it's just it was a turning point right around after college, maybe the last 10 years, where actually it wasn't even that long. It was probably like 5 years or so where we made that switch. Like, okay, anything that comes in, we'll still design it for patios, but we're going to subcontract it with our service partners, right? Down the road, if we ever want to get back into it, we still have the option. We can still design it. We have skill for it, but it's so much harder to expand on that with any kind of economic turmoil. People aren't spending that kind of money, but for damn sure, hotels, school districts, fast food places. They can't.
Yeah, they're not going to let a weed bath grow out in the front.
Yeah, or they're not like a hotel downtown Minneapolis isn't going to not have you guys clean their windows, right? It's going to happen. People are still spending that kind of money, so that it'll impact the valuation a ton. If you've got that those contracts for long term, and many of them, or just service contracts or service agreements versus one-time jobs, it all comes down to valuation, what you want to get out of it.
And it's hard to staff. It's hard to staff for one-time jobs. I mean, that was a big thing that I was talking about on Turfs Up Radio today is just like how to find employees and how to like keep your staff. And you have big peaks and valleys in your schedule, and you can have all the A players you want, but A players need to be fed. And if you got no food for them, they got to go find somewhere else, right? And so if you have too many peaks and valleys, they're going to get frustrated because their paycheck's going up and down, or you're going to get frustrated because you got to pay them to sit around and do nothing. And so,
I met with a guy. This is probably sorry, interrupt, but I met with a guy that was probably about this time last year. It was last winter, and we talked about going back into hardscaping and doing a big push on it and everything. He's well known in the area, but he wanted a minimum of 150. I'm like, but that's just you, and then you're going to need a team of people, and then you're also going to need a foreman because he wanted to be more of the manager of that. Plus, you're going to need all this new equipment in addition to all the skids and stuff we have now. I'm like, so I'm $500,000 in year one with no expectation to sell one job off the bat.
Yeah,
without marketing. I'm like, okay, well, I could take that $500,000 and
buy get a lot of business for $500,000.
Yeah, or reinvest or put it in a money market account and make 3.5% for not doing anything. So that was a quick thought and didn't really last more than a night.
Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.